This channel is supported by TrueFire. TrueFire is an online library of lessons from some of my favourite players. There's thousands of lessons on there. You can use the promo code JNC40 to get 40% off of any of their courses.
Hi, my name is Cordy. This is my big sad face. This tone that I'm going to show you in this video, it took me a little while to dial in. Initially I had this compressor at the end, which I've now taken out. I don't normally use these, and I found actually that it was probably too compressed when I came back to listen to it. And I've started to use the dual cab thing, and I think I switched the reverb out to be in stereo. But also one of the key things that I noticed was that if you're using the Mesa Boogie Mark IV model, make sure you check what's happening in the 5-way slider EQ at the end on with the video. Yeah, it took me a little while, but I think I'm fairly happy with this tone now. It's trying to dial in a blues tone. It was a bit more difficult than I thought. I've also done it for Podgo, and that I thought was a bit easier. So Kent asked me yesterday if I would explore a tone sort of similar to, there's a chap on YouTube called Sean Mann who does some really cool stuff. So I looked into some stuff, and the idea here is going to be sort of a bluesy tone. I've done this for Podgo as well, but I'll just show you like a preset build here. And we'll use the Cali 4 Rhythm 1 channel. We're going to take the drive up a bit and maybe take the mids and bass, take the mids down a bit from there, keep the presence up a smidge, and maybe take the presence down. Now, cab wise, I'm going to go with, start off with the 4x12 Blackback 30 and take off this low cut and turn up the reflections, so this can give us a little bit of a room vibe. Now, reverb wise, I think what I'm going to do is, a big part of some kind of bluesy tones is this fairly big reverb. If you listen to like John Mayer and folks like that a bit, they do tend to have quite a lot of reverb kind of washing through the tones. I'm going to open up the low cut and high cut and leave the mix roughly where it is. So off the bat we might get something. And then I'm going to try the old trick. Part of, certainly for some of these kind of guitarists,
a big compressor at the end. So John Mayer, for example, I think has a fairly compressed tone, and that can be a cool thing to try here. So what I tried this yesterday, is, you know, blend in a little bit of this compressed signal. And really thicken it up as well, at least a bit. You could also probably just do this with, or some amount of this with the sag portion of the amp model. And I might go into this. Yeah, I've turned off the low cut there. If you want even more bass, the 4038 ribbon has the most. And maybe something like the 87 condenser might be a bit of. Might be like kind of that in between, but let's try with the bass. Another thing to try is maybe sticking on a bit of tile reverb. So this is like a room type sound if we put this before the compressor. Can really help to put it in a bit more of a space if you're looking for that. If you're looking for a more direct tone, I'd maybe leave that off. And then one other element that I think would be really important here, if we've got space for it, the screamer, and try with the tone at about 7.5, turn the gain down a bit, turn the level up a lot. Let's see what that does. We could even make this spring reverb to be more realistic, have it in mono. That's a thing, you know, obviously an actual spring reverb is not stereo. Let's just open this back up again. I'm going to put this on the screamer here. And another thing that I thought possibly we might want to try is sort of boosting the high end in front of this. So we're pushing a bit more of that high end sort of sparkle into the front. Bit of a darker sound. I might get rid of this little tile as well, put that back in if you want it. And then the other thing that could be useful here, something like a univibe, because that's like a bit of a thing. That should be, I think, first in the chain. So that could work, I think. Hopefully that gets you somewhere closer to these kind of tones, if these are what you're going for. So let me know if you want me to drop that into the folder. I'll be happy to do so. Hopefully that can help you get somewhere closer to some sort of blues tone that you're trying to dial in. I think those are some cool options. The Cali 4 rhythm channel, a bit bluesier. The Blackback 30, a bit spanky. The Hot Springs reverb, obviously. Into the studio compressor, that's an option that you could experiment with. The Tube Screamer, obviously a staple of that. And also the Univibe. So just by way of a bit of a follow-up, when you're dialing in this particular amp, you need to really remember, as I didn't, that we've got the 5-way sliders here on the amp. So I'll just put that back to default. You get cut quite a lot of bass response. And also I've turned off the compressor. I've decided probably for this sort of thing you kind of want that bass response here. There's also a cut at -240 which So I think that actually ends up sounding quite a lot better. And I felt like the compressor just ended up making everything like a little bit too compressed. I'm getting rid of that. Let's just clear that. If you want more compression on this, I'd suggest turning up the sag here, maybe even the master as well. But yeah, don't be afraid to get rid of and I've actually changed it back to my normal thing that I do with the dual cab. So I've got 57 dynamic as well as the 4038 ribbon, which gives me some of that low end. And again, if I really wanted to go crazy, I could even boost this low end a bit more if I want to get that feeling of moving. But you probably won't need that. But you want to be in control of that. EQ, especially when you got the tube screamer on anyway. Going to chop it off anyway. So that's kind of Blues Weapon 2. And I think because we got rid of that compressor, you might have a bit more scope to add some other things on. I think this is going to be what I re-record the intro with, because I think I'm a bit happy with that.